Welcome to another episode of Crafty Brewers Tales Behind Craft Beer, the podcast that aims to increase your enjoyment of craft beer and your admiration for the people who create it. On this episode, we are going to bust a beer myth. We are going to share stories and learn about one of the most eclectic brewers we have had the pleasure to talk to. Kyle Vetter is the founder and brewer of 1840 Brewing. We are in his brew house in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and we'll talk to him. And then we have some beer behavior to wrap things up. Behind the camera, the man who is enjoying already some barrel-aged barley wines is executive producer Cody Goff. ZZ Top said it best. I am beer drinker and Hellraiser Brian Noonan, and all my opinions are strictly my own for, well, what will soon be obvious reasons. Cody's here. With me, as always, is the high priestess of hops, the matriarch of malts, the femme fatale of fermentation, the siren of suds. She's the co-owner of Exit Strategy Brewing, Catherine Vallow. Hello.
Bonjour and hello, my friend.
Bonjour.
We've seen each other so much today.
Welcome to Milwaukee again. This is exciting.
This is the third time I will welcome you to this city.
And welcome to Kyle Vetter, the man behind 1840. Thanks for being here.
Oh, I'm glad. Glad to be here.
I can't wait to get into this because I'm not talking out of school. Catherine has been giddy beyond belief about getting to your brewery.
Thank you.
It is
so exciting.
Yeah.
It is going to be very exciting to learn all about the... Everything looks like it was created by some crazed beer genius.
It was.
It was. There you go. All right.
You're welcome. Here I am.
Yeah.
Hi, it's me.
And it's actually geniuses. We have a couple. There's a
Very
couple of
nice.
us that do this, and so no, yeah, you're right. You're not wrong on that.
It's going to be very cool. You have a great history too. But let's start with a beer myth. I've been drinking beer my entire life. I was weaned on old style, so I have been drinking my entire life. And there's things I've heard that I thought were true, and I find out they are not. What is our myth today, Catherine?
So today our myth is that everything that comes out of a barrel is some crazy high percentage.
Oh,
and
sure.
you just can't make anything with a lower ABV come out of a barrel, which
Right.
we know is some bullshit.
Right, absolutely bullshit.
Yeah,
I'll call
it's right. Call it right now. Right, like hit the button. So we know very well that fermentation comes in all shapes and sizes and everything else, and you can create lower ABV beers and get them out of a barrel, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because you guys do a ton of barrel work.
Yeah, and so we actually have a bunch of table beers. For example, the best example I can think of, it would be a table beer. It's a Belgian-style beer, and these are low-alcohol beers that anywhere between 2.5% and 4% technically is like around the range, right? And so we are bringing these beers out of barrels all the time at these low ABVs, and it has to do with what you put in as far as what comes out when it comes to ABV. And, you know, you can... Any type of beer can be barrel-aged, but not necessarily everyone should be.
This is one of those other things that we've talked about before, too. Like, should everything go into wood?
Not necessarily.
No, not so much. Can a lot go into wood?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right?
More
Yes.
so than you think.
No, it's true.
Oh.
I think that myth may have come about because a lot of the, bourbon barrel-aged stouts are really high in ABV, and a lot of barrel-aged beers are high in ABV. But it is interesting when you get some that are not. You go, oh, wait, I'm still getting all the characteristics that were supposed to come out of this wood, but I'm not hammered after one beer.
Right.
That's nice.
Yeah, absolutely. No,
Well,
it's
that's
cool.
one of those things, too, where, like, you don't... We've said this 17,000 times. You can appreciate the art of something without getting blasted.
Yes.
Right? And so lower ABV barrel beers really give you an idea of how barrel aging can work without... Yeah, that like, because sometimes barrel-aged beers can be real cloyy. My hot take is that they all taste like soy sauce after a while.
They can. Yeah, you can definitely get to that point.
Right.
And like the lower alcohol beers don't age as long. So
No,
they're
of
going to
course.
get to that gross place quicker. That soy sauce
All
spot.
right.
Yep.
Like every beer is going to get there. So barrels allow for microoxidation of the product, and oxygen is the nemesis of beer. So over time, as that oxidation sets in, there's diminishing returns, and so the style is really what makes for the length of time. Super big beers, which are known for barrel aging, is because they're super big and they can stand up
Okay,
to
they
that.
can sit there for a while.
Right.
Do you have a favorite when it comes to barrels?
As far as
Like
producer
what?
of-
Yeah. Well, no. Like, do you like gin barrels, bourbon
right.
barrels, wine barrels?
No, I just love using oak. I think it's a fun ingredient that we get to play with that sometimes has gin or bourbon or wine flavor in it, and that's neat. But just using wood is just like always been my passion. That's like why we started 1840. Really was to just focus on the wild world of beer, and using wood as an ingredient is part of that.
Well, again, our guest is Kyle Vetter. He is the founder and brewer at 1840 Brewing. You mentioned oak and wood. That was part of your early career, right? You were, I don't know the full title, but I know you handled oak. That was your thing.
Yeah, I was the oak manager at Aspen Brewing Company in my before I started at 1840.
Okay.
So that was my job, was to manage all of the barrel program there and to create new products. And come up with new ideas on how to age beer in wood, in addition to being the lead brewer and just like making the regular beers. So that was my passion. I really wanted to lean into that, and I wanted to sort of like set up a side project type thing in 1840, or excuse me, in Aspen Brewing Company. It didn't work out. The owner is just like, nah, it's not where I'm headed. You know? And so we decided let's start to look at doing this on our own. And I grew up in this area. So I've been brewing in Colorado. I grew up in the Mequon area, which is a suburb north of Milwaukee.
Right.
And that's what brought us back here, because nobody was doing anything like what I learned in Colorado at the time. So I'm seeing all this cool creativity and different products being made, and no one was doing that in Milwaukee, and that's why we decided to move back here and do what we do.
Well, let's go back then to the beginning, because you started in Colorado while you were in college. How'd you get into it, and what was the scene like? Because, we've all heard West Coast and Colorado; those were like the big craft beer hubs at the beginning.
Yeah, for sure.
What was going on out there that you were surprised wasn't going on somewhere else?
I mean, I remember being in college and going to a gas station down the street from my house, and they had 2 cooler doors of only Colorado craft beer. 2 cooler doors. Like, that was a ton.
Yeah.
That's a
me.
lot. Yeah.
I'm like, I've never seen so much local products, and so I want to try everything, and whether that was local from my town or from the state. So I remember trying from Tommy Knocker, old brewery now, a maple brown. I'm like, I didn't know that beer could taste like this, right?
Right.
And so then you just start like, oh, now every weekend, my roommates and I would go and try a different 6-pack. And like, look at all these flavors. And so we were just exposed to the stuff that I couldn't find here. I mean, Leinenkugel's was probably the most adventurous brewery at the time when I went to college, Creamy Dark or, those types of things. And so to go out there and have this all these stuff, it was quite eye-opening for me.
And so that made you want to get into the business?
Yeah, that's what made me want to brew. So we just fell in love with the different flavors that were available and trying new things. And then we started home brewing. Me and my buddies were like, let's try to brew some beer. Thankfully, our first batch turned out okay. And then within 6 months, I was working at the brewery in my town.
And what brewery was that?
Ska Brewing in Durango, Colorado.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so what do you so you're just out of college, you're at Ska. What are you doing there? Because you don't just jump in as a brewer, right?
No.
You got to start scrubbing out tanks or whatever.
Oh, not even. No. I was packaging, I was canning and bottling. I was dipping a lot of bottles in wax, because we had a 750 milliliter series where every bottle was dipped in wax. So I was doing a lot of this, letting it dry, and that labeling. I did eventually work to transferring some beer, cleaning some tanks, carbonating beer, starting to work into the cellar. And then I ended up moving back to Milwaukee to start a restaurant that we were thinking was going to become a brew pub.
Okay.
That partnership didn't work out. I ended up selling real estate for 5 years, having an amazing career, but I got burnt out real bad. And then I got back into beer, and I moved back to Colorado with my wife, and I got assistant brewer position in Aspen. And then I ended up growing into lead brewer, oak manager, and then here we are at 1840.
Very nice. Now, you describe 1840 as an urban farmhouse brewery.
Right.
Explain that to people who only know what those words mean separately.
Yeah, for sure. So obviously we're sitting here in a city, and we're not in a farm, but we make a lot of beers that have like a very rustic or sense of place. For example, Mariah Karaoke is a good example. This is a Saison that was fermented in stainless and then aged in oak barrels with wild yeast and bacteria, and then later added to fruit, which we'd already used to make a beer, because you don't want to have the fruit, be wasted. So we use the fruit twice. We use these cherries twice. And in fact, these are our most award-winning cherries ever. Mariah Karaoke won a gold at the U.S. Open Beer Championship, and it's sister beer won a gold at the Great American Beer Festival this year.
Congratulations.
All the same cherries, Door County Montmorency cherries. So, those are like classic Belgian, farmhouse type styles of beer. Okay. And so that's what we want. That's how we started. The funny thing is that even though that's who we are at our core, we do everything now. We always have something light, dark, hoppy, sour, fruity available.
Okay.
And that's the examples we have here. We've got a lager, a fruited sour, a IPA, barrel-aged stout, mixed culture cherry beer. So we, kind of have all of the gamut. And
then you have something that is gray and purple.
Yes,
and
correct. And then I have this here, which in the right light is gray, and in the other light is purple.
Amazing.
Sour IPA. So we do everything now. We've sort of evolved from just being hyper-focused on things that went into oak or were classic to we just want to make every style well and just try to educate people on the wild world of beer.
Before we get into, because I know Catherine has many questions about the ingredients you're using, I have to ask the easy question. There's a nice history behind the name of your brewery.
Yes, 1840. First year commercial brewery started in the city of Milwaukee. And that was 6 years before Milwaukee was incorporated as a city, 8 years before Wisconsin was incorporated as a state.
Oh, wow.
So it's a very important moment of what made Brew City, Brew City.
There we go. All right. Catherine is, and I don't mean to speak for you, love
No, it's fine. Go right
these
ahead.
different kind of ingredients.
I am.
So I'm going to let you go off on, you've been waiting for this Mariah karaoke since we walked in.
I've been waiting for Mariah karaoke.
How would you describe it to a layman like myself?
I have not even had a sip of it yet.
Let's
Okay.
remedy that.
All right.
Remedy that situation.
You're not wrong. This is just. We talk on the pod quite a bit about how Brian and I have considerably different palates. Like if you're going to describe something as possibly smelling like feet, horse blanket, and a little bit of mold, it's all I want to consume.
Nice.
That's like just where I want to live. Mixed culture stuff, anything with Brett, anything that's going to have
What is Brett?
Brettanomyces,
Okay.
right? So Brettanomyces is a souring agent.
Yep, it's a wild yeast. So it's a yeast just like ale yeast,
Okay.
just like lager yeast. It just behaves much differently.
Do you know, and I don't mean this facetiously, do you know how it's going to behave, or is it a gamble every time you use it?
No, you definitely, we're in the modern age, right? So we know how these yeast
God
behave.
damn.
Okay.
Sorry.
And we know that a certain strain of Brettanomyces is going to have pineapple characteristics, where another one might be really sweaty. We know this stuff,
Yeah.
right? And so when we go into crafted beer, we can pick the right strains that we think are going to complement that base beer. So in this case, you do have some really dry. I don't want to say horse blanket. It's not quite that intense.
No, it's not that intense.
But it's
there's
like
a
hay.
hay.
Yeah,
right.
correct. There's that
a little
kind
straw,
of
there's a little
barnyardy.
hay.
Correct.
Yeah. It's definitely barnyard for sure.
But then you drink it super dry.
Really dry. Finish on it is
mild,
absolutely
tart,
beautiful.
High cherry, kind of
Okay.
going throughout because these the cherry is sort of in the background because these cherries were already used once to make a beer, right? So yeah,
And when you use a fruit twice, how much intensity is there
So good.
compared to the first time you used?
when we released the original beer, it is deep red, and it is. There's no doubt it is a cherry beer. It's a creek. It's a Belgian style.
Oh,
So the
lovely.
first beer we made was a creek, and then this was like a second wash of the fruit, if you will, and that's why you have this rosé-like color, and the cherry flavor is more in the background.
Okay.
This is more funky. The acidity is balanced. It's just this is a really cool. It's a lower ABV beer for being a fruit beer. It's only 5.6%, which is low, for a mixed culture fruit beer that ferments to dryness.
I'm telling you.
Go ahead.
No.
This is aged in wine barrels. Is there a certain type of wine that is going to complement the cherries and that yeast more than other types of wine?
Yeah, so we use neutral wine barrels always because I want some wine character, but I'm not always. I take it back. A lot of times because I don't necessarily want the oak. I'm not after the oak
Okay.
flavor. I'm more after the liquid that was in it. So I want it saturated with wine
Okay.
more than I want young oak.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, because oak is like tannic and drying, and like vanilla is cool, and like it can add complexity to the beer. But I'd rather have a bunch of wine flavor going.
100%.
And
And
that's
get
what
that.
you get here. You get it from the oak, you get it from the grape contact or the cherry contact. So you get it from all these different places, and I think that makes a more interesting beer.
Okay. Go
No,
ahead.
I was going to say,
ask, 'cause I'm
even aerating it, I'm a big believer in swirling and letting it warm up and even aerating
For sure.
just anything, wine, whatever, just to bring in a little bit more air into it.
If I didn't try it, just
You must. Are you not
because
normally a sour guy?
I am not.
Okay.
And that is well known.
But
So this
That
is
is-
like,
sorry.
but what's nice is the acidity here is mild,
Okay.
and so it is tart, but it's not like aggressively tart. It doesn't like
It
it
is-
doesn't make you pucker in the back of your throat.
no,
you
it
know?
doesn't do the thing. It doesn't do the grab here,
Yeah.
and it doesn't do the grab here.
Right, it's on your tongue.
Right, it
Yeah.
sits, and it
It's,
sits.
I definitely
like
get
middle.
the cherries, which is really
Correct,
good.
like a pie.
Yeah.
Like you get the cherries like a pie.
Like a well-made pie that isn't too. That like weird stuff that's in the cherry
Goo?
pie. That
Cherry goo?
Yeah, there's none of that. There's just
There's
like
no
good
cherry goo
right.
in this.
Certified goo-free beer.
Goo free. I think you're the first
You know
brewery
what?
in Milwaukee
Congratulations.
to go goo free, aren't you?
Goo free.
Amazing.
Goo-free.
You know,
Goo-free.
thankfully the certification process is very simple. I just asked these two.
Is there any goo in
They
there?
agree.
There's
So
no
here
goo.
we are, we're goo-free certified.
Kyle Vetter is our
Goo-free.
guest.
We love
he
it.
is the man behind
This is
1840
incredible.
Brewing.
Thank you.
We are going. This is very exciting. Normally, at this time, we take a break. We try some beer. We've been trying some beer, but today is a very special day.
Yes.
And so, tell us what we are going to get to experience.
Well, I'm really excited because so in 2 days we are training on our new canning line. We just got a canning line. We're going to be putting our beer consistently in cans for the first time in 6.5 years.
That's
And we are also, for the first time, going to be having a year-round product. So we've always been known for constantly releasing new beers.
Okay.
New beer every week, sometimes multiple new beers a week.
That's got to get tiring.
It does, but we love it.
Sure.
You know, and so that's the fight we're willing to fight. But we're trying to grow, and we're trying to like make our brand name more recognizable. And so you got to have some products that you can lean on.
Yeah.
And we're finally releasing our first core product, which is the Cashmere Sweater Double IPA. It's the IPA we've made more than any IPA in our history.
Oh, wow.
6.5 years. And it is super great. So I can't wait to pull some off the tank for you guys. I can even show you the canning line if you like.
Yes.
We'll be putting some product through that for the first time in a couple days.
All right,
That's
we're
amazing.
gonna head back to the canning line. We'll see you there.
jazz music.
Well, you'll see. This was very exciting to go back. We saw your new canning, your canning line,
Yes.
which was adorable, if I may say so.
So cute.
It is.
I know.
It's like, oh, look at this canning
You
line.
know, it's like a petite little baby.
You just went coochie canning line.
Yeah.
Very nice.
For
I
real.
enjoy how a little Italian accent came out just then.
Oh, thank you.
Like a little
It's
petite little
birthday. Maybe we need to name her Italian name.
Super Mario
That was
Brewers.
terrible.
What is that?
That
Did
was-
you just play something? Did you have some audio come out over there?
What?
No, I
Not
think
even
he moved
listen.
a
He's
chair.
drunk. He's talking to
He's
you.
not drunk.
I moved a chair. I'm doing production
Stop
back here.
producing.
I'll filter it out. No one would notice if you didn't call attention to it. What are you gonna do? Mamma mia!
Luigi is upset.
We would like to publicly
Remy Brothers
apologize.
spaghetti,
Oh my God,
pasta
we're
fazool.
sorry. We're really sorry to every Italian,
I had-
every Italian ever,
Correct.
ever
Wow,
in the
my
whole
bad.
world ever.
My bad.
No, it's fine.
So
like it, though?
I do. This is the core beer, Cashmere
It's our
Sweater.
first core beer.
First core
we can
beer.
call it that. Yeah.
And you,
Oh,
we
hot
are
damn.
we are drinking this right out of the bright tank. Is that
Correct.
the right term?
That's
bright
right.
tank.
Yeah, that's where we put the finished, clarified, carbonated beer for packaging, and we took it right out of there. And this is, it's just such a special beer because our farmer in Michigan has the best cashmere hops. We've gotten them year after year, and they are unlike anything we get in the Pacific Northwest. They're just the best, and it's juicy. It tastes like
That's what it is. I'm getting like a fruit.
Yeah.
Like it's a fruit juice kind of.
Oh, for real.
It's yeah. for
So
me.
you know the little fruit cup with like the one maraschino cherry in it? You peel the plastic
Yeah.
off like that, right? It tastes like the juice of that.
Yes,
The one.
it does. And I am. I'm
got my closing.
Kind of 50-50 on IPAs. Some I really love.
Sure.
Some I'm not. Some the dry hop I like, but this has all of that IPA. Even though it's a double IPA for a guy like me, it's got all of the hop flavors and stuff. But that fruit, the fruit comes through more, so it's really nicely balanced. And It's got a creaminess to it that I kind of
very
dig,
round.
too.
It's very smooth. It's very clean. Like it's just.
Yeah, this
It's
is
a
sort of why we
beautiful
made it
beer.
our full-time,
Yeah,
our
this
first
is
full-time
very
beer.
special.
Because everybody loves it, and we love it. We've always loved it.
Yeah. What's your
First
ABV
time-
on this one? I'm
this
sorry
is
to interrupt.
8. It's
An
a
8.
double IPA. It's
Yeah.
8 even. Every time, the first time we made it, it was in the tank fermenting. It was day 1. It was not even 24 hours in. And I pulled a sample, and I called my wife, and I was like, this is the best IPA we've ever made. And she was like, that sounds awesome. You know, like,
All right, dude.
like, this is really good news, right? I'm like, yeah, it's great news. And we literally just never stopped making it because it's so good. You know?
It is so good. This is.
when you are debut, like you said, you're bringing out new beers all the time.
Every week. Yeah.
So your core customers are expecting that. If you went to one every 2 weeks, what do you think the uproar would be out there?
No, they'd be fine with that as long as like the reason is because we're releasing this more often.
Yeah.
You know, because when we do release this, people come in more and they're excited about it. They're always asking when it's been a while.
Right.
This beer, we have a blue-green beer called Seafoam we make every May. And people ask all year about it. When is Seafoam coming out? It's pineapple passion fruit, fruited sour that has blue spirulina in it, which is algae.
How cool.
An algae?
It's an algae.
Yeah.
And has a blue-green color. Really neat. So that's every May. So we have certain beers that like people request all the time. Cashmere being one of them. So
It's and for good reason. This is absolutely
Yeah, this is
exceptional.
really good.
thank you.
This is exceptional.
Really good.
And I think what's interesting with double IPAs, especially, imperial IPAs of any kind can get a little hot, right? Like
For sure.
get a little astringent and you've got to watch that. This is beautifully conditioned too, which I think is one of the other, like, its flavor profile is great and you can tell that there are some very special hops in here, but the fact that it's been so well conditioned is like speaks volumes.
Yeah, it's really soft. It's
That's a good adjective for it. 'Cause
yeah.
It is. I hadn't thought of it till you said that,
Yeah.
but that's a perfect descriptor. It's like, oh yeah, it's just
It's not aggressive at all. Like it's 8% double IPA, right? That sounds like, ugh, but it's not. It's like
No,
very
it's beautiful.
gentle on your palate. You're like, wow, it's so fruity and soft and full. But you want to have another sip. Like it's like dry
Yeah.
enough where you want to have another one. So yeah, we love it. It's it's why we decided to make it our first year-round product.
Yeah, it is. It is great.
And
It is great.
explain. You told us, and it may make the cut, but it's going to make the cut here. Your cans are going to be different.
Right.
So explain that because they sound much more environmentally friendly.
Yeah, so we've been in bottles for all these years, and we love our bottles, like the different shapes. We have the clear 500s, the regular 500s that are sort of our bread and butter.
Yes.
We have 750 milliliter brown bottles we use. So we've been all these different package types. But when we went to cans, we decided we really wanted to make sure that the reason we're doing that is because they're easy to pack in and pack out, right? If you're going to go on a camping trip, you can take a 6-pack, crush them, and leave. Lightweight.
Right.
Also, we want to be recyclable because I didn't want to jump into cans and have them not be recyclable. And
Okay.
the pressure labels that go onto cans make them less recyclable. So not every facility can handle
Okay.
the pressure labels. You're supposed to peel them off before you recycle the can. What we've done here is we're using a local company, CBW Craft Beverage Warehouse. They're here in Milwaukee, and they print our cans for us. And they use an ink that is 100% recyclable. So
wow.
we're really excited about it, that not only are we bringing cans to the market, but we're doing it in a very sustainable way.
Very nice, because that seems to be it's growing more and more throughout the industry. Where the 4-pack holders, whatever
Right.
those are going.
Yeah.
Huh?
Pack tech. Yeah.
Okay. That's so you can say it out loud, so you don't.
Pack Tech.
Pack Tech. Well, there's some breweries
This episode has not been sponsored by Pack Tech, but if you want to sponsor me, please email me.
But if Pack Tech, come at me. I'm right here. I'm right here.
Listen,
Pack
I'll
Tech.
dress
I'll
up
take
like a
it.
NASCAR
Breeze.
driver if you want.
Omega?
Whoever wants to
All of
sponsor
them?
us.
Who do you want?
I'll be Ricky Bobby here.
You will not.
I will.
You will.
Wonder
not.
Bread,
Those sleeves
all the sleeves, everything. I'll be the big.
Like extra sleeves?
I'm gonna have sleeves with
There's
all
like
the
sleeve-
labels, all the sponsors.
Sleeves on sleeves on sleeves.
What was I going to say?
Nobody knows.
No, because there's a lot of breweries now who are saying, if you bring those in, because they're
we gotta
we gotta recycle. So that's very cool. And these bottles, I've never seen a bottle like this at a brewery. It looks like old timey,
right.
Like I should be drinking in the West.
Yeah,
and
that's what we're going for, right? 1840.
That's right.
What does that time period invoke? It invokes the traveling snake oil salesman, right?
Yeah.
And so that's what we're going for. And our brand is like we are this, old timey sounding name, and we make classic beer styles. Yep. We make old school beers, and then we put them in these medicine bottles.
Medicine bottles.
Cool.
That's what they look like.
They're so cool. I'm trying to finish mine up because there's another one that I want to.
Yes, I want to try.
A wee nip of.
All right, let me ask this since you brought it up, and I know Catherine, I'm sure, knows about it. When you said you were talking about your seafoam beer that comes out in May,
yep,
and you said, "Oh yes, we use da da da. It's an algae." Okay, for a guy who doesn't know, that sounds odd,
doesn't it?
Yeah. It's like, hey, we're putting algae in there, and then I scraped the aquarium so I could make this beer. It's going to be delicious. You're going to love it.
Right.
Sit back.
Essentially, what it is. Though.
Where do you like? I've always thought brewers were artists, but they were also like a little mad scientist, crazy.
For sure.
Where does one come up with that idea to go? I'm putting blue algae in my beer.
So what happened for me is I saw a blue beer on the internet, and I was like, how did they do that?
Okay.
And I literally did not stop. I didn't sleep until I figured out how they made that beer blue. Because I make beer for a living, and I've never seen that color. And it took me a while, and I finally found an Untapped review for that beer that said algae. So then it must be the algae or something, right?
Okay.
So then I started, algae. So then I started researching that, and eventually figured out that spirulina, which is really good for you.
Very good for you.
They have a blue version of it.
Okay.
It's blue-green algae. They've isolated the blue part.
Okay.
And the powder is the most vibrant blue you've ever seen. When you open the bag of this powder, it is like glowing blue.
Whoa.
It's unbelievable. And so we incorporate that into the beer, and it turns out a seafoam green.
What's the base beer?
The base beers are fruited sour.
Okay.
So it's an oat cream ale that we just ferment like normal and then make it blue. And then we add pineapple and passion fruit.
Does the algae have any sort of flavor characteristic on its own, or it's just for color?
If you're to eat the powder raw, it tastes kind of nutty, kind of like a cashew. And but in the beer, you cannot taste it.
Wow.
Like once you dissolve it into the beer, there's no flavor addition.
I promised that I was listening to that whole thing, but I was also then just enjoying this. And
speaking of color,
now we have a different color. This is like a gray, purple beer.
Which one is this
butterfly
one?
pea
butterfly
flower.
pea flower is one of my it's one of my favorite things to see done anywhere.
Okay,
so
can you explain what that is?
Yeah, so this is a Twilight themed beer, right? So
who is the large Twilight fan? Because it's also playing in the tap room.
Yes. Okay. So one of our brewers, she's
is Robert Pattinson. That's amazing.
No, she's just like got cool ideas, right?
Yeah.
And she's like, hey, I like Taylor Swift. I like Twilight. Like, let's lean into some of these things. So we like to joke that we're the Taylor Swift brewery of the United States.
Nice.
And that is because we have named multiple beers after Taylor Swift.
Taylor, do you also want to be on the pod? Do you want to sponsor the pod?
If she wants to be on the
pod,
pod,
put your patch right here. Big.
They could just
Swiftonomics.
I'll wear your face as a mask.
No, but for
that's not
your real
weird.
face.
That sounds
a mask of your face.
Okay, all right. We just went. Yep.
It's that double IPA.
Like Silence of the Lambs over here. Buffalo Bill.
I'll wear your face as a mask.
It puts the lotion on the skin. When did you expect this to fall apart? Did you expect this
I'm the
to
problem.
fall apart before final questions? Because that's happening.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
I meant I would wear a mask of her face. That's what's wrong with me.
We have the little E now for sure. We have sponsorship offers out to many people. The expletive.
Make sure you take them off.
All of them.
Tag them all. All right.
Hashtag Beer Swifties.
So, all right.
Giles in tears.
I'm sorry.
This one's wearing
I did
human
not
skin as a mask. Cody just walked away from filming for a minute.
Didn't know it was that kind of podcast. It is.
though.
Here's the thing.
Here's the thing. Her face wouldn't fit on me. Let's move on to the beer.
Okay, I'm ready. Whenever you're ready, I'm ready.
So, back to elderberry butterfly.
Yes.
Whatever.
Butterfly pea flower.
Yes, that's what I meant. Explain that, because this beer changes colors.
It does.
It's like a mood ring.
Yeah. So butterfly pea flower is actually sort of blue when you look at it, and then you add it to a acidified liquid and it turns purple. And so in this case, there's a sour beer, it turned purple. But we did it in a way where there's a lot of like protein and wheat and oat in the beer, and so they add this gray color. But what's cool is like, it's a Twilight themed beer, and so we kind of are excited about the color changing properties of it, right?
Well,
so
I
in
mean,
one light it's purple, and in another light it's gray. It's sort of fun for the overall like
vampires,
theme, right?
Oh, it's fun for vampires.
Yeah,
It's fun for vampires.
yeah.
Vampires,
And it
sponsor this
tastes
podcast.
So good, like it just
Can we
like
be
the
sponsored by
mosaic
vampires?
hops are so fruity,
So
and you make them sour, and then they just really like pop with this floral, fruity aroma. And then the butterfly pea flower is also blended with.
Wow, are you working for a cartel brewer now?
It's lime and lemongrass, right? So you get a lot of citrus characteristics
yeah.
in addition to what you get from the hops.
It's
a
just
super fun combo. It really just like pops with flavor.
Yeah, this is...
What? Now, you've named a number of ingredients I have never experienced.
Sure.
And I'm enjoying all of them. I haven't tried the algae. I'll come back in May.
Yep.
What's the most unusual ingredient, for lack of a better term, that you've come across and you went, yeah, I can do something with this?
So we have a strict no meat in beer policy here at 1840.
That sounds good.
Right, it seems fair. But when we wanted to brew with meat, we went and we brewed with our friends down in Chicago, Microphone Brewing.
Yes.
And
Mike.
And
And Earphone, but mostly
yes,
Mike.
Yeah, I know. And Mike, all of them, they're phenomenal people.
I like
down there.
Ike better than Mike.
And Kyle was the brewer when we brewed this, and he and I have like the same birthday or something. I don't know. It's crazy. Anyway, good dudes. We made an oyster stout down there with them.
I've had an oyster
Those
stout
are
before.
they're weird and they're cool. And they're cool because they're weird.
Right.
Right? Like,
Yeah,
they're
Like the salinity makes the beer just taste better. And it softens it up. The bitterness gets softened up by the shells sort of absorbing some harshness. So it's a cool thing. We've done everything. I mean, everything weird we've tried to do.
Okay. And
That's normal.
Has you come across one, though, where you went, that's too weird? Like if you took a Taylor Swift face mask and tried, would that be too weird?
That would be too weird.
All right.
But
too weird.
we have not. I don't think that we've made any beers that have equated to wearing somebody else's face on your face.
Listen, it's early in your career. You've got a lot of time.
There's still
Got a new
time.
canning
There's still
line.
time.
I mean, that's cool.
Yeah. Oh, that should Taylor Swift's face. That should be the
Just call it face mask.
face mask is
But, like,
good.
spell it weird.
Oh, all right.
Like,
All right.
spell it different.
Look at
Let's,
that.
let's,
Boy,
do-
you-
let's
We need
get
to
back
change
on
gears
yeah.
here.
Sure we do.
You like
What do
dark
we got?
beers.
I do.
Can we-
I gotta drink
you know what? And
bottoms
we're
up.
not doing our due diligence and staying on track. We kind of suck right now.
That's
We're
okay.
talking about the beers.
I'm
We're
having a
some
great
fun.
time.
And Kyle's
He's going to have a hard time
He's gonna have to, yeah.
later. This is
Oh,
the
we're
problem.
going to get a text with about 1,000 expletives.
Like, I don't know
that
how you
says-
want me to
and at
edit
the
this
end of
together
it,
at
it's
all.
just going to say 70 hours post-production. I hate you.
Yeah.
Is what it'll.
At 3 a.m, which is when I finished most of our
There's
edits.
no way to make this
3 in the morning.
cohesive.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I'm a slow. I am a slow drinker.
You're good. You're good.
So
All right,
will you
where
continue
were
with
we?
the old timey medicine bottles
Yes.
once you start canning?
100%.
So
no.
only the cashmere is going to be in there.
No, so a lot of our beers will go into cans.
Oh, okay.
Yep, we're going to add a lot of cans, but we decided that, we want to stay in the bottles. The bottles are super important. They're
Yeah.
part of our brand. They look super special. They stand out. Every time we do
Yeah.
a tasting, people are like, those are cool bottles. Yeah, we're definitely not ditching the bottles.
Yes,
So
I
now
know.
what's going to happen is you'll have our bottles will be in the singles cooler. Where
Okay.
people are like, oh, I want to try this. And then we will also have a shelf of cans.
Oh,
right?
nice.
Oh, perfect.
Oh, so
Perfect.
that's a great. I was going to ask about that, about the selling these as single. Do you only sell them as singles?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Because that would be, I think any beer is worth a try.
Right.
You know, but
And we
I
get
don't
to
know.
do that for people.
Yes,
we get to say, hey,
that's the beauty
do you
of
want
it.
to just try one? Boom,
Yeah.
try it out. And now that we have cans, they can say, well, I'm going to risk it on a 4-pack or a
Right.
6-pack because it's cheaper, to be honest.
Yes.
It's more expensive for us to make a bottle of beer
course
than
it
it
is.
is to make a can of beer.
Yeah.
And so our cans are cheaper. And so now we're sort of like, who are you, right? Do you want to, I want to try one more expensive bottle? Or, I'm willing to roll the dice on a 4-pack that's more affordable.
Right.
Like, so we kind of have the option now.
Oh, that's very nice.
Well,
All
you
right,
get more beer
what have
for
you
it.
poured us here to
So
begin
this,
to wrap things?
yeah, so let's wrap it with a big guy. This is Italian drinking chocolate. We have a drinking chocolate series, which are basically stouts that I have looked on the internet around the world for recipes of hot chocolate beverages from all over the world. So they're real hot chocolate beverages. Some have alcohol, some don't. And then we decided to create an entire stout series after that. This particular one is a Italian hot chocolate that we found that has a dollop of Nutella in it, which is hazelnut. So in this case, we just use hazelnuts. And then it's cocoa nibs, and there's some milk sugar because there's cream in there. And then what else? I believe, and coffee, correct. And there's a little bit of espresso.
Yeah, I
So
was going to say that's
this particular drink is an espresso hot chocolate drink with cream, Nutella, and it tastes really, really good, right?
Yeah.
Well, we just made it boozy and barrel aged it for many months.
There you go. And you put it in bourbon barrels.
We did.
Does the bourbon enhance the chocolate and coffee and things better than other spirits?
Yeah, big time. So when we barrel age a beer in a bourbon barrel like this, we age it first and then add all the flavoring after.
Yeah.
Where if we make the beer fresh, we add the flavoring when it's done. Same thing, it goes into the barrel and it rests until it's done, and then we add the flavorings. And so we do that because I don't want old oxidized coffee flavor in my stout. I want fresh coffee flavor in my oxidized stout, right? Because this is why we age beers, is we want them to micro-oxidate over time. But I don't want old coffee. Like, coffee is not designed to be aged for 22 months.
Do you find that by doing all of your adjuncts after pulling it, that you that you get less fall off after time? Because
big
so
time.
many
Yeah.
barrel aged beers, we've talked about this a number of times. You're gonna lose. You lose coffee. You lose coconut. You lose the flavors,
Yeah.
especially if you're cellaring for too long. Reference that episode, world. Like if you're cellaring for too long, you're going to lose the cool adjuncts. You're going to lose everything cool. So this is interesting. Yeah. And it makes perfect sense in my brain that, why would you adjunct it in the barrel? Now that we're talking about it, you should absolutely adjunct it after you pull it
And
out.
we've done both. We've adjuncted and then barrel aged.
Okay.
And it's okay as long as you pull it at the right time.
That's the thing.
But usually, like, the barrel character that I like and the aged stout character that I like takes too long to achieve to maintain any sort of coffee or chocolate or vanilla or flavor from that many months ago. So we like to add those things later.
No, it's brilliant. This is delicious. And I think what is, again, one of the things that we can see with large stouts in barrels is that they can be hot. They can be a little astringent. There is no astringency. This is like just buttery smooth.
Liquid
it is
chocolate.
absolutely phenomenal. And it isn't soy saucy even a little.
No, not at all.
It's not cloy. It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant.
I'm glad you like it.
Bravo for the final beer. We ask every brewer the same 3 questions to wrap it up.
All right.
Our first question is, what is the hill you will die on? Meaning, no matter how popular a style gets, it will never be brewed at 1840.
Oh, my God. No, it's not this
Please
one.
excuse
Hang
me.
on. Good Lord. Hold, please.
What happened?
Cody wants some, and I handed him the wrong bottle.
You make it sound so good.
You know we're in the final question.
Start again.
This is exactly what...
I really want to try it. You make it sound really good.
It's really
very
good.
good.
It's really good.
It is really
I
good.
love this
Well,
stuff.
drink up. Kyle, we ask every brewer the same 3 questions at the end of the interview.
Okay.
Our first one is, why did you do this podcast? No, wait, hold on. I don't think that's it.
That's
That
our
will be the
last
4th question.
It's 'cause you asked.
Oh, there you go. What is the hill you'll die on? Meaning the
'Cause I was
beer
bored.
that no matter how popular it gets, the clamoring of the masses, you're like, that's never coming out of my operation here at 1840.
Man, it's funny because when we started, I was like, there were so many of those,
Okay.
and now like I have very few rules, right?
Right.
No meat and beer. We already discussed.
Yep.
No meat and beer. On behalf of my brewer's sake, they don't want to do a cold IPA.
Good.
What is the difference between an IPA and a cold IPA?
Oh Lord, it's like
How much? Do you have a whole other podcast?
no, because it's
We'll come
so,
back.
Like, you can either
It's
we
just
can
not
either make
good.
it a real long conversation, or we're gonna make a real short one.
All right.
Yeah,
well-
no, here's the thing. It's that there's cold IPA, right, which is a defined thing created in a singular moment that's readily available, that information, what it is, right?
Okay.
But before that, there was also India Pale Lager. There was also, hoppy Pilsner or
It's
whatever
a new
you want to
name
call
for
it.
a thing that's been done before.
Oh,
And so
okay.
this is the challenge, is like people just, have a hard time being like, well, this thing is new when essentially it's like a new name for, so whatever. So my team
It's when Madonna became Madge.
my team like puke over the idea of cold
Okay.
IPA.
No
And
cold
I think it's
IPAs.
hilarious. I don't care. Honestly, I don't care. We'll make whatever we want.
Puke over IPAs.
Yeah.
I love it.
Number 2, is there a beer that you brewed, and it may have been successful, but you're like, it's too much, I'm not brewing that one again?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I have a couple of those. Not many. We usually nail it. But I think there was early on, one of our first 6 months, there was a beer that was a bourbon barrel aged saison, bourbon barrel fermented saison. That just it was too much bourbon. I think it was called
Ironically, it was
Stone
called Too Much
Castle.
Bourbon.
Stone Castle. it was
Oh,
called.
Stone Castle.
Anyway, if you're OG, you'll know that. And you're like, yeah, it's too much bourbon. So, and if you're not, then you're like, cool, I don't have to worry about that happening
Yeah,
again.
it's never going to get.
So,
I could go into 1840, no Stone Castle. That's
Correct.
going to be great.
Yeah.
And, all right, you're off the clock. It could be one of yours. It could be any. What's yours sitting on the porch, chilling out beer?
oh, Miller High Life.
Wow, that's
That's 2 for 3.
Milwaukee Brewer. Well,
3.
we
Did
are
Jake
in.
say that too?
Jake said that
yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, no doubt.
It was High Life.
No,
And that's why I said
absolutely.
every brewer.
But bottles though.
No,
Bottles.
obviously. Yeah.
Oh, sure.
And nobody drinks High Life out of can.
Here's
No,
here's
you
a
need
beer
special
myth
place in hell for that.
that
real.
goes with. I know we did beer myths, but when I was a kid, because I used to drink High Life all the time, they said it was clear in a clear bottle because there was formaldehyde in there.
Wow.
Wow, there's so many good stories out there.
That was a thing that would. I was like, I don't care. I don't know what.
I'm going to get
I
preserved
don't know what.
young.
I'm gonna look young
Cool.
forever.
I don't know what formaldehyde's going to do to me.
No,
but that is it.
It's nothing good.
the skunk characteristic is why you're in clear bottles. So like green bottles like Heineken, anything that's in clear bottles, Corona, Miller High Life, anything like that, like there is a characteristic that they're going for, and that's why those beers don't taste as good in cans.
Oh,
Like you have a High Life in a can and it tastes like shit. You have a High Life in a bottle, it's nectar of the gods. But you have a High Life, you have Heineken in the can, tastes like shit. And they exposed the beer to light to try to skunk it on purpose.
Okay.
While it goes through the canning machine, and it doesn't matter. It just
matter.
it's at the process. They got to just trust the process, just not mess with it.
all right. Well,
This is again
now
what the text is going to say, just trust the process.
Trust the
Don't mess with
process,
it.
yeah.
I will fix what you've done.
we are moving into the final portion of the program, the home
Sure.
stretch, as it were. It is beer behavior. Some
Oh my
beer
God, we
behavior
haven't
is
done this
good.
yet. Okay,
some
you're
beer
right.
behavior is bad. Catherine always has some beer behavior.
I do. I was going to change it up from what we talked about in our drive over. But you know what? We're just going to go for it. We've had some laughs. So
Oh boy.
in beer, we're either talking about beer trends in the industry. Sometimes we talk about bad customer behavior. Sometimes we just talk about like behavior in general, right?
Okay.
And this has to do with regulars.
Sure.
Every brewery has their regulars, and
Yeah.
we love them, and they keep breweries alive.
100%.
Right?
Yeah.
Especially those groups that are like 2-3 times a week. Love them so much. However, here's the thing that nobody likes It's when those regulars, the people that like even have your number because you're now like friends outside of things, walk out on their tab.
Ooh.
And they're like,
ouch.
That's happened before to everybody. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know.
I assume it's happened.
Not to me.
Not that you know of.
Correct.
Right.
I would be
Trying to call
chasing
the
them down
bartender.
the street.
Yeah, right.
Right. Like, I'll get
Where's
you tomorrow.
my
And you're
money?
like, wait, we don't keep tab books anymore. Even though I have these old timey bottles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's not like a
honestly-
tab book behind the bar.
I don't know that I've never heard of that. Literally never heard of that happening here.
I am very, very happy for you.
Yes.
I'm
I've
really
never
happy
heard of
for
it.
you. I have heard stories many a time of like, oh, it's like one of my best people and never pays. And like, then I'll be like,
how are you the best person if you never pay?
Correct.
You are the worst
So
person.
here's what's great about our best people is
they
they're all
pay their tips.
correct. Yeah, that's great.
It's lovely. It's
But
how you
they're
get a
all
nice little candy wine.
registered. They're all registered, and they keep tabs on their points.
Oh, because it's a point. Oh, rewards are
And
cool.
when they hit 420,000 points, they get to brew a beer with us.
420,000, eh? That's a fun number.
Isn't that nice?
It's a fun number.
Yeah.
a big
We
number.
make hemp beverages, by the way.
No, I've heard. 420,000 points. Huh. You don't say.
That's a lot of points.
I mean, it's not. I don't,
It'd take
it's
me a
not
week and a
trend.
half
It's not
to
even
get
that
that
bad
many
of behavior.
points.
We've
That's a
just
lot
had
of
some good
points.
time.
No, 2 or 3 minutes.
Pay your
Yeah, I'm
tabs,
not-
everybody. Just pay
You
your
know,
tabs.
Give me the big bottle for the big points.
Ooh, and while you're paying your tabs, make sure you tip well. This is a tough industry.
All right.
It really is, though.
Yeah.
It is.
Like
But
it's
no, we have great people, good people. We don't, thankfully, this, what did you guys call it? Not
Beer behavior.
Behavior.
Beer
This
behavior.
beer behavior does not affect 1840.
which is lovely and
Very
wonderful.
nice.
I've heard too many times people being like, "Oh yeah, no, we'll see you
I like
tomorrow."
the
Like,
fact
I'll get
that-
him tomorrow. Like, yeah, but what about now?
Right.
Kyle just kind of insinuated that 1840 customers have money and aren't afraid to spend it, and I like that. I
You
like.
got a fancy new canning line.
Yeah, look at that.
Someone's racking up points.
We drank out of a pig's tail tonight,
Yeah, you sure did.
which I never
We
thought
sure
I never
did.
thought I would say, but I drank
sure
out of a
did.
pigtail, and I am
wasn't
happy
even smoked.
to. Nope, it wasn't in the beer. No meat and beer.
No.
No meat and beer.
Well,
And you
listen,
tried to wear somebody's face.
I didn't try. I just offered.
Sure.
Oh, if I try, you'll know.
Tomato, potato. No. Edit all of it.
What if I pulled
Keep
this back
editing.
and it was Taylor Swift underneath?
Like
Then
a
you'd
Scooby-Doo
freak- Then
villain.
you would freak out. I'm like V, the old alien show. Would you pull it off? Expose
Somebody's
my
gonna remind you
lizard
that
head.
He's young. If you
You're like, oh no. Oh no, are you here? Are you here to talk to us about all the beer names?
I'm the creator of Blue Algae, and I've come to
I'm
reclaim my
available for a new
beverages.
podcast. Should anybody want to co-host?
All right. Catherine,
No.
this is the end of the broadcast.
That's the end of a lot of things.
All right, friends, if you want to support the show,
Oh my God, it's my.
I think he should. I think our guest should read it. Frankly.
I'll read it.
all right, Kyle will read it. Dramatic reading, please.
If you'd like to support the show, then please buy our merchandise at craftybrewerspod.com. We have shirts, hats, phone cases, and other merch for you, anyone you know loves beer. And every purchase you make directly supports our show. Supports
And support us.
by helping us cover our editing, software, and web hosting experiences.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, it
Today's
does.
featured merchandise is...
All right. We have some. I'm out.
How
We
about
have
the
some.
Taste the Rainbow shirt?
I already did taste the rainbow. That was the first one I did today.
What about
and
the
then I did-
Cockles McGockles shirt?
Today's
How about the
feature...
cock-a-doodle-doo decoction?
Yeah, that's what I said.
Oh.
Today's feature merchandise is this 1840 hat.
Ooh, yeah.
It's available at 1840brewing.com.
That makes
Or
sense.
we're gonna I mean we'll do some of that. We could also
Yeah.
you know what decoction is a new one.
We will
It's a cool,
copyright
fun, longer
infringe on
term.
all your stuff. We're not afraid.
You know what I don't know that I
What
support
about the
anything right
social media
now. Nobody
influence?
cares anymore. It's fine.
I think you're wrong.
I care about the social medias. Okay.
Do you like social media?
Yes, I do.
Then follow us on Instagram at crafty_brewers_pod, where we share our latest merch, designs, preview
not that
upcoming
bad.
guests, and post other fun stuff from behind the scenes at the show.
That's correct. And if you are a brewer who would like to put yourself through this same experience, or if you know a brewer who really, really is high and would like to come on the show, please email us, craftybrewerspod@gmail.com. That's it. That's all. Oh, I got to say, we must thank Kyle Vetter. He is the man. He is the man behind 1840 Brewing. 1840 Brewing Company is at 342 East Ward Street in Milwaukee. 1840brewing.com, and on their socials, it's 1840 Brewing, where you
can also buy Crafty Brewers merch.
Yeah, you can get Crafty
Because
Brewers
you can get
merch.
1840 on my website.
It's
you can get Crafty
really
on your
weird.
Oh, yeah.
So,
I'm not sharing the profits with you, though.
profits, that's
You
a
don't
thing?
make anything.
Well, listen, join us next time, because next time we'll also go from grain to glass with another unbelievable brewer. We'll have some fun. We'll share some stories. And who knows if we'll speak broken English or Italian accents or sign language or whose face I will be wearing. For Crafty Brewers Podcast.
You didn't say it was produced
It is
and
executive produced. Shut up. I know how to do this. By Cody Goff. He produces, he edits, he puts up with us.
I drink.
He drinks, he learns things. Another fantastic new piece of merch. Plug. She's Catherine Vallow.
Yeah. He's
You want us to jump back somewhere?
He's Brian Noonan. He's Brian Noonan.
You need to jump back.
Wow.
No.
Ready?
Yeah, what?
I think we should
My
jump back.
final thought?
Your final thought.
Don't be the single maraschino cherry in a fruit cup. Okay. Okay, are we alligator? Are we vibing?
All right, ready?
No, tell me what we're doing.
Let's high five.
Okay, ready? Can I go deeper?
I
You are
can't.
crying.
I'm fucking dying.
Your eyes
I'm dying.
are liquiding.